The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to Success Secrets Exposed with Sally A. Curtis, where we share stories of challenge, success, and inspiration, along with practical tips and strategies to move you forward to your success. And now, here is your host, Sally A. Curtis.
Good evening, good morning, and good day to you all. Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Success Secrets Exposed. Today, we're going to be inspiring you with stories of change and natural solutions. For those that are new to the show, that are new to me, I work with speakers, authors, and coaches as a content repurposing whiz. I actually help them turn their existing content into new profits. For example, I can help them turn their book into 2 years' worth of social media posts and assets. So today we're going to be talking with Catina York on the power of creating change, something that we have certainly all experienced quite dramatically and probably continually over the last couple of years. So we're going to be diving into the power of creating change and positively impacting your life. Now, Catina is a certified aromatherapist as well as a wellness advocate and mentor. Now, she has an incredible story of both self-discovery and natural solutions. And I'm going to let her share her story as we unpack and have a great conversation to share with you today on the show. So please help me welcome Catina to the show to help share her stories and to inspire you.
Hello. Hi.
Good evening to you. It's so exciting to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, I know that there's lots of elements to the backstory, but can you share with the audience what brought you onto this path of being this wellness advocate and also studying and being certified in the aromatherapy? Tell us what brought you to that or led you to that place.
Yes, well, as you said, it's a long bike story. However, I have been interested in natural solutions for a little over 20 years. I discovered it from, having issues, health issues with myself, from going to the dermatologist and, being able to, research and go to the natural stores to find natural solutions because they wanted to put me on medications and I had to take that for the rest of my life. But however, discovering what direction I wanted to go with natural solutions, I one day just decided to create body scrubs and lip balms for my family and friends and give them away as Christmas gifts. And so when I did that, I had several of them come back and ask me if I was selling it. They wanted to buy the product. And I stated, no, I'm not selling it. I'm just giving it away. And I didn't have business or anything of that nature. And so as time went along, they kept coming back. And I had one particular lady that had suffered from fibromyalgia for many years. And she tried one of the samples that I had given one of my friends. And she stated that that was the first time that she was without pain for a long time. And she wanted me to make a gallon. So I made the gallon, but I told her, I said, well, I don't have a business, but I'm going to have to charge, for this because I have to buy the products for it. And so, I thought about it and I was like, well, there's something to this. She experienced, some significant changes and she loved it and, suffering from something for so many years. And a product that I was just giving away helped resolve that issue. So that's how I really got started
Yeah.
in natural solutions and, with body products as well as essential oils.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love that. And for my own experience, I've also fallen into different versions and different businesses because I've been doing something that was quite effortless and obviously part of your inner genius and part of my inner genius at the time. And then people keep coming back and asking for more, and you sort of go, there might be something here, but we often need to hear it 3 times.
Yeah.
Obviously, experience to you before we sort of go, there really is something here. But what a beautiful way to start a business that's so aligned to what you have experienced yourself, but also being able to transform and transfer that success across to clients as well. So when you were creating the gifts for your family members, etc., and they kept coming back for more, what was your original reason for actually just creating them as gifts? So what was the experience that made you decide, I'll create these for Christmas gifts in the first instance?
Well, my mom, she was, working. She's been working for like many, many years. But this one particular lady that she worked for, what she did, I don't know the exact title they call it, but she worked in the homes and, did their parties and whatever, that they needed, she did it. However, she was one that always, every year, that gave Christmas gifts to all of our family. And she eventually passed away. And so that is what actually initiated me to give those, products as gifts, because that was going to be 1 year that they weren't going to receive anything. But she did that on behalf of my mom. So instead of my mom spending all that money for our, we have a huge family and also the in-laws, she did it for my mom. So that was going to be 1 year that they weren't going to receive anything, especially the little ones. So that's, I just felt in my heart to do that so that they'll be able to receive something, during that year.
Yeah, and I think again too, if I listen to that story, how divinely timed and divinely inspired was it as well from yourself, but also again something I hear very strongly when we've spoken is that that gift of service. But how that idea and thought came to pass is always a great reason and a great starting place to start an inspired business. So tell us a little bit more about the wellness side of things and the aromatherapy and how you've been, I suppose, experimenting and playing with the products as well as getting the great feedback from clients. Tell us some of those.
Okay. Okay. Along the lines of the wellness, I wanted to get into coaching. And that was due to another experience that I had, which was a health issue. And the doctor wanted to do surgery, and I was against that. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I consulted a natural doctor. And when I consulted a natural doctor, he did an exam. And then he gave me the recommendation, which was all natural foods and herbs. And within a small amount of time, I began to see a difference. I had my energy back, and the pain that I was experiencing, it disappeared. And then within 2 months, I did the another follow-up with him and discovered that all of the things that showed up on the results on the exam, all of them disappeared. They were gone. So I'll give you a number so you can see what I'm talking about. On the exam, I had 19 items that showed up. Things that I knew about, things that I had no idea was there. And within those couple of months, it went from 19 to 2. And that was just going the natural route, changing my diet, changing the foods that I ate, the things that I drank, getting away from synthetic vitamins and over-the-counter medication, prescribed medication, those type of things, and just going all natural. And so it saved my life. I didn't have to have surgery. The issue that I was having, the pain, like I said, it disappeared. I don't have it anymore. And so I thought about that, and I was like, think about the many people that are experiencing some type of illness or some type of problem. And it's a simple solution, which is natural, natural foods where you can get your nutrition and your minerals from fruits and vegetables. And your body needs those nutrients. So that's when I decided I would like to coach. So at the same time, I was working towards getting my aromatherapy certification because I wanted to ensure that the products that I was creating, that it wouldn't interfere with, what someone may be taking, because, I'm not at liberty to tell someone to stop taking your medication, stop doing this or that. But I wanted to make sure that it would not interfere or cause any issues. I wanted to make sure that the work that I was doing wasn't, adding problems or causing any additional harm to the person. So I saw it upon myself to get, to get that certification, which I did, and I'm excited about it. And, working with the clients, when I work with them and take them through the process, and it's a series of questions, looking at their lifestyle, looking at the things that they like, the things that they don't like, as far as smells, scents, because I don't want to just recommend something and they don't like it. And so I take them through that process, and then I determine, what type of product for whatever the issue that they want to address, and how I would actually formulate that product for them. And I would give them a sample because I always like for them to try it first before, they, say, okay, well, this product is the one for me. Because if you think about it, some people, they may say, oh, I want a body oil, but they don't need a body oil. It may need a diffuser blend. So they try the body oil or they try the diffuser blend and they find out, well, that really didn't do anything for me. And so, and also to, it depends on, again, the issue, if it's a physical issue or if it's something like allergies or if they need to sleep, not really getting sleep. So you wouldn't give them a body oil for sleep, you may not, because they may not like to have that. They could just have a diffuser blend. So it all depends, that's the process of trying different products, because people are different and they will prefer, different things. So I will work with them that way to figure all of that out so that they can be, happy with what they receive.
Yeah, brilliant. I think too, from with what you're saying, there's obviously that very personalised approach that you have, and I love that you've used the likes and dislikes, because I remember my own experience of somebody making something up for me. Now I'm going to say I didn't like lavender. Because I can remember lavender as a child, and I didn't like that version of it. And somebody made something up, and it automatically triggered that that old memory. But now I love lavender when it's used with something else, as an example of a smell. And smells are such a powerful thing for people to either really, really accept and embrace, or really use as a deterrent. So I love that you actually start from that approach. What I've also heard and reading as part of your story, as part of your own growth, was that understanding how the body actually functions and educating ourselves around the right foods. Now, obviously, as we're all individuals, that there's a very strong element of tailoring in there, I would imagine. But I'd love to hear more about your experience and insight around eating the right foods for certain things. And I've written down the key things for me, obviously, and things that I hear a lot is pain, energy, and sleep, as being the three pinnacles that people either want to get rid of pain or inflammation. We all want more energy because we're trying to pack so much into a day, and as a result of being in that high adrenaline or on process, we often many people suffer with sleep as well. So what are some of the things that we need to understand about our body, as well as some of the foods, etc., that we can use to aid in those three areas that you've come across?
Well, that's still an area that I'm, researching and getting, more knowledge and understanding about. But it is very important that we do understand the different systems of our body and how they function. Now, one thing that I can share is that your liver, it detox, it filters out, all the toxins that, come through your body, because we're exposed to toxins all the time, every day, from food, from the things we put on our skin, from the air, so we're always, exposed to it. And so our liver, it functions as, getting rid of that stuff, that comes through our body. However, if we don't put the right foods and things in it, it will not function the way that it should.
Yeah.
And, like our respiratory system, it helps, it deals with our breathing. And if you don't, breathe properly, it could cause so many different things, to happen. And everybody want to be able to breathe, to take that breath. If you're not breathing, there's a problem. So it signals a problem. So I mean, it's very important. And the way I like to look at it is, God, when I studied parts of the anatomy and how it works, it just came to me that God gave us a healing machine, and the body actually will heal itself if we treat it right. If we put the right things in it, it will actually do what it was created to do, and we don't have to do anything, to tell this part to do this or that. It already knows what to do, but we have to make sure that we're staying away, from the fatty foods, the the sodas or pop or whatever people want to call it, because I remember I was diagnosed with pre-diabetic, and my doctor told me, because I like to drink Mountain Dews, and she told me, she said, one Mountain Dew was a meal. So it's like, if you drink a Mountain Dew and you eat a meal, 3 meals a day, that's more than what you need. And I was like, are you serious? One Mountain Dew is a meal? And so she told me I had to cut it down and, get a small one. This was way before, I just went natural, going the natural path. And so I cut it down, and I had to start drinking the smaller cans. So it's a lot of, we have to research and, find out information for ourselves, understand our body, listen to our bodies, and treat it, I mean, it's gentle, you wouldn't just go and get a hammer and nail, put a nail in your chest towards your heart, because you need your heart to live. It has a function, for your body. So we just have to treat it right. And like I say, I'm still studying more about the anatomy, and it's fascinating when there was a lot of videos that we had to watch, and they actually show you, how it works and how it functions. I don't understand every part of it and all, the big words and all that stuff, but just by seeing it, it was very fascinating. And that was my conclusion. God has given us a healing machine.
Yeah, and I think too, to wrap that up too, the very first thing that you said to me really landed, was that our body has different systems. And when we think of our body, even though I sit here thinking, you know, I look after myself, I drink water, I eat well, and do all those things, and I sleep well. And sleep was a significant thing for me, but I do sleep very well now. But I still think it is as being just, I'll just call it the Sally body, where in actual fact that you've actually nailed it for me. And the insight around that was that there is actually different systems. So there's different things that need potentially nurturing or looking after. And yes, I totally believe it's a healing machine, but we need to be supporting those systems well enough that we can support ourselves. But I really love that you've actually highlighted, for very much for me, but for the audience as well, that our body is made up of different systems. So we need to be able to, you know, what works across all of the systems for the greater good of supporting our body. So that was huge insight for me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And some of the things that you've also talked about is obviously changing some of the bad habits that we're getting into and correcting them with better habits. What are some of the commonalities that cause, or the common things that cause people problem that are simple changes where they can create that change for themselves that you've experienced?
Yes. Well, one of the things is not, well, I was going to say something else, being afraid of change and what the change will, because they don't understand it, they're afraid of it.
Afraid of it. Can I just interrupt before you continue there? Because one of my most favorite quotes of yours is, don't be afraid of the mountains that show up in your life.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll let you continue to expand on that, because that to me is just eloquent and beautiful. Thank you.
Yes. You know, you have to, like, for instance, I tell someone, oh, I've gone plant-based. And they're like, oh, no, I got to have my fried chicken. I got to have this and I got to have that. Yeah. Before I can actually explain, or before they get an understanding as to why I made that decision to make the change. And if, you know, they will allow me to share with them the experience that I had and the things that I went through and how, you know, the results that I got, that they will understand, oh, change is not bad. That was an awesome change. And it actually saved your life. So change is not bad. You know, I feel like if you really understand, you know, the other side, because we can't see it, and that is the mountain, because, you know, you're afraid of it. It is as though it's a mountain or a giant, and you can't be afraid of it. You just have to, you know, embrace it, understand and get more information about it, you know, educate yourself about it. And once you do that, and then you become more familiar with it, and it become one with you, and you can see the benefits from it, you will embrace it. Now you're no longer afraid of that change. Yeah. So yes, don't be afraid of the mountains. You know, there are so many things that we are faced with in our lives, and you know, it will, you know, seem as though you know, you can't get through it, you can't get over it. When I was faced with the health issue, you know, fear wanted to grasp me, but I refused, because I had already, you know, educated myself. I understood a lot of things. So it wasn't hard for me to make that decision right away and say, hey, I'm going to call this natural doctor, because I already knew what the solution, you know, to that problem was. So I just embraced that change immediately, because I was already in that path of, you know, making some changes, but I didn't make them like 100%. I had replaced white bread with wheat bread, and white rice with, you know, and the sugar and all that stuff. But there were other things that I didn't know about that the natural doctor actually educated me on and explained to me. And you know, and I embraced that, because it was my health, it was my life that I needed to do something about. I couldn't depend on someone else, you know, to do it for me. So I had to make that that decision, to make that change.
Yeah. And I think, too, through making that change and embracing that fear as you've actually expressed, by being that little bit curious, helps you sort of embrace, by being curious, you sort of helps you embrace the fear to help yourself find out what those incremental steps are. So if I use the example that you've gone all plant-based, I was watching what was going, or feeling what was going on in my body. You said plant-based, and my body went, oh my God. So straight away there's that resistance and that fear, and it's sort of like, oh my God. But then as you talked about it, when I got curious, okay, well, what would that mean? What are the benefits of that? As you said, when you actually get to speak to somebody that's had experiential benefits from it, you get to share. So you're curious about their outcomes, story. And through that curiosity and hearing that story, you mentioned that you just swapped one white bread out for the better bread and the sugar out for that. So then you actually start to hear and be able to accept and take on board, well, my first starting point is I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do that, which helps the fear subside, and literally you're actually starting to scale that mountain to get across to the other side of it. So I think that was, that the fear and the mountain and being curious is certainly going to help you make what seem like significant changes more bearable, and then become more exciting. They become more of an adventure then, don't you? Because you start to play a game with yourself. Oh, what can I swap this out for, and what can I swap that out for?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's that part of your process is discovering what people are experiencing, and then sharing some of your stories and your clients' stories to give them that courage.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
yes, and also, getting them to a point where they're actually comfortable, because I want to provide them with what works for them. I don't want to force it on them, but I want to, share my story and then allow them to make the decision.
Yeah. And do you find with that process, because it's such a personal process, that people then become more, I'm going to use the word agile, more agile at then doing trial and error to try where they get solutions? I suppose the better question is there much trial and error, or is there, we've got a couple of options and we'll see what gives the best results? What do you find how do people start the embracing and creating those change for the first time?
Well, I would say it's not necessarily trial and error, but finding out, okay, what is the problem? First of all, what is the problem that you want to address? Because there could be many different things going on, but what is that one thing that you want to address? And then once we, talk about that one thing, it could be that there may not even be a product that, I can actually formulate, or a product, that, my doTERRA, have. It could be, all right, before you can't sleep at night, for example, you're not getting any sleep. Okay, what are you actually doing? That'll be my first question. Before you go to bed, an hour or so before you go to bed, what is your routine? What are some things that you're doing? And they may say, well, I do this, and I do that, and then I'll come back and ask questions. Okay, because they're not going to tell you everything, so you have to ask questions. You have to dig. Okay, are you drinking? Okay, do you drink caffeine in the evening? Okay, what time do you drink caffeine? Are you, laying in bed, with your phone, your cell phone, or watching TV? How long before you before you go to bed, or you're trying to go to sleep? And then, you find out, some of the things that they're doing, and then you can offer those things that, that are free, really. Don't drink caffeine before you go to bed, or listen to some soothing music, take a warm bath. And then, I may, offer to, okay, we're going to try this lavender diffuser blend,
Mm,
that you can use in your bedroom before
mm,
you go to sleep. So it
mm.
all depends on what the problem they're addressing, and just talking, having a conversation about, what's going on, to find out, okay, well, here's the solution. And
Yeah,
then we go from there, because it could be just okay, yeah, I do drink caffeine, I have coffee.
yeah,
Okay, well, you can still drink coffee, but maybe 2 hours before you go to bed, or something of that nature, and
yeah.
see how that works.
Mm,
So
mm.
um that's why I say it's not really like a trial and error. It's kind of
Yeah,
like a discovery. You're just, you're kind of discovering, okay, think about things that you're doing that you probably need to change, or you might need to modify and
yeah.
alter. And then there's probably some things that you probably need to eliminate. So it all depends.
I think you've nailed it there. It's definitely not trial and error. If I'm thinking of my own experience around sleep, which I'll share, it's actually discovery. And
Hmm.
I'm sitting here laughing because when I went through some of those elements for myself, and no, we certainly don't tell everything, because I was asked, do you watch TV before you go to bed? But I was never actually asked until much later, did I have a television in the bedroom? Because
Right.
the whole reason I wasn't going to sleep was because I would get absorbed in the show, and then I'd watch the next show, because there's nothing like a good series binge, but not when you're trying to go to sleep. So
Exactly.
that was where were my bad habit routines that I could discover that I was doing. I knew that I was doing them, but when somebody catches you out on it, you actually then have to actually own it, which was the case.
Right.
So for me, in that example, I actually got rid of the television out of the bedroom, which
Okay.
was which was a huge thing because I'd always loved it. And the diffusers with the lavender blend in it was very helpful for me. Um,
Hmm.
actually, to break the habit of not watching TV in bed, I would actually have a warm bath before I went to bed. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, all things to change into better routines
Yes.
that
Yes.
are more supportive. So, yeah,
Yes.
thank you for that. I would love you to also talk about as it relates to some of the elements, because I know you spend a lot of time and you care a lot about the formulations and these products that you've actually created and formulated very specifically for people. And I know it's very easy to say you've got these products and that sounds fabulous, but I know that they were created out of some really great solutions and outcomes that you've had with clients. So can you share with us, I suppose, some of the products that you do have and some of the outcomes or some of the stories that clients have had through just a couple of those products that are, the ones that people keep coming back for more and, wanting a gallon of?
Okay. Okay. Well, actually, I don't have any products created or made until I actually work with someone, because it would be, as you said, it would be specialized for that person. But
Yeah,
I could give you some examples of some of the products.
yeah.
One would be my Restful Night body wash, and I had a client, that wasn't getting any sleep, and was having aches and pains and that type of thing. And so, going through the process, I created the Restful Night body wash, as well as a diffuser blend.
Mm.
And I named the diffuser blends, but right off the top of my head, I can't remember what I named it. It
Yeah,
probably was something like relaxation, something.
yeah,
And so she tried it, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's just so soothing, so relaxing, and I'm able to go to sleep, now. I'm not
mm,
having any problems falling asleep." And with the diffuser blend, she was like, "I use it, and I'm
mm.
telling you, it just create that relaxing environment where I can, kind of, get myself in the right, mood for sleep."
Yeah.
And so I have many clients come back for those two. And she's always getting the body wash as well as the diffuser blend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and I think that's what you've also identified there is those products are creating multiple elements that are supporting the different systems within the body.
Yes.
So sorry, I just wanted to highlight that. That was all.
Yes. No, that's okay. That's okay. And then I had a cousin that actually, when she heard about the body wash, she purchased 5 of them. And when she purchased 5 of them, she called me back later and she said, "Oh my gosh, my husband just took, my body wash." And I told him he had to get his own. And she was like, "I need to order 5 more so he can have some." And just recently, she told me that her son got a hold to it and he fell in love with it. And so I was like, oh, wow, So the body wash, became like a regular product, that I actually will sell because it's lavender, and lavender is very delicate, and it's one of the most safe, essential oils that, you can use. But for the diffuser blend, it was actually created for that client based on the things that she was dealing with, based on her home, And when I say her home, that means the people that's living in her household, because if someone else come in, like a baby or child or something of that nature, it will irritate, which it did. She had an experience, and I told her, remember, the product was that diffuser blend was created for you, not for the child, because at that time when we went through the process, the child wasn't in the home, and so she had to stop using it because it caused the child to cough, and she said, I immediately turned it off, and I was like, that was the best thing to do. So another product that before I actually started formulating, specializing, for individuals, was the mint eucalyptus foot scrub. And that was the experience, for people that actually experience aches and pains and neuropathy. And I have a lot of customers that come back for that product just to get some relief, to have some relief from it. And I mean, it sells, all the time. So those are some of the ones that they actually keep coming back for.
Yeah, brilliant. And with, you sort of mentioned that last, the foot product as it relates to pain and those sorts of things. Can you unpack a little bit of how some of the products that you create, and I'm going to just say the ones that you're personally creating for people, how that actually helps to ease pain for them, just in a very general way? Is that possible?
You said, can it relieve aches and pains? I didn't get the last part.
How those products, or what you're formulating, how does it benefit, and how does it ease the pain, the aches and pains, and those sorts of things?
Oh, okay. Well, the mint eucalyptus, it has peppermint in it, so peppermint is cooling, and it's for aches and pains, and it soothes, it helps with circulation and that type of thing. And eucalyptus, it has pretty much some of the same benefits as well. And so those two together actually helps with the relief, you know. And I used it. I was having some pain in my back. I don't know what I did, but my back was just aching. And I don't recommend people to use it in the shower, but however, I used it myself because I was hurting. And so when I put it on my back in the shower, the pain went away. Yeah. And so I was able to continue to keep doing what I was doing. So those two together, those two essential oils are really great for relieving aches and pains. And also it also helps with opening up your respiratory system so that you can breathe for, if you're dealing with a congested allergies and that type of thing. So it has multiple benefits.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that as you were talking and describing that from my own experiences, straight away when I was thinking of those essential oils and different products that I've used that have got that in it, it is that soothing. It sort of helps to increase in circulation, which likely helps to get the blood moving more, which may help with inflammation. But also too, as you said that, I know that when you've got those sorts of smells and you're not holding your breath because you're in pain, you actually start to breathe better, which actually helps your body full stop over. So this again is where it is helping all of the different systems that we have within the body, which is just is obviously very profound. So a lot of the work that you do from that, the wellness advocacy and the, the aromatherapy is, yes, you've got your aromatherapy as it relates to the oils and the products that you're creating, but you really look at the holistic person as well as discovering what's going on in their life, what good and bad routines and bad habits they have, and what can be changed to help them mitigate some of those problems that they're having. Because you've also talked about the food element, and potentially vitamins and those sorts of things, either to or to not to, depending on the person. So can you walk us through just in the last few minutes, as because as always we've got into a fabulous conversation and we're starting to run out of time. I'd love you to share a little bit with the audience about your wellness discovery sessions that you do, so people can take advantage of that and connect with you if they so choose to. So can you share a little bit on that for us too, please?
Yes, the pre-wellness discovery session is free, and basically it's not the questions that I would take the person through for a detailed session to create a product for them. But however, it's just a number of questions just to get to know the person, what issue they're having, what they're trying to address, the things that they're actually doing now, and to have a conversation to see if they are potential or will be a potential client, or how I can assist them in helping them move forward in discovering some things that that can help them with their problem. So it's just really like a get to know you, to see if I can be of service to you, and and if I can't be of service to you, I can direct you to someone else that can. So yeah.
That's great. And I think that's such a great way of talking about it too, with it being a discovery session, because I've had a sneaky peek at it. And some of the questions that you're asking in there they're very easy to answer, but they become very reflective. So that's, yes, I watch TV at night, but don't ask me if the TV's in the bedroom, where you actually start to catch yourself out on the real truths. So then when they do have the opportunity to talk to you, they can actually have a real open and honest conversation, because they've had that initial conversation with themselves mentally. So they're better prepared to be more truthful in exploring and discovering what some of their challenges are, so they can get over the top of that mountain much easier.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Is there anything in the last few minutes in closing that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I would like to share the definition of change. I looked it up because I was curious as to how Webster defined it. Yeah. And there was two definitions, and one was make someone or something different, alter, or modify. And the other definition was replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better, substitute one thing for another. And so that's pretty much what the wellness discovery session is all about. And it's all about, finding out what's going on, see if we can alter, modify, or replace it with something else.
Yeah, brilliantly said. Thank you very, very much. What we might just do very, very quickly is just go to a real quick commercial break, and then we'll come back, do a quick recap, and go and talk about what's coming up next on next week's show. We can just go to a quick break.
Are you a speaker, coach, or consultant wanting to increase your reach and impact? Need to save time and leverage your resources? Content repurposing is the fastest way to increase your visibility, credibility, and profitability online and reach your audience with ease. You already sit on a mountain of gold that is highly valuable to your audience. It's in your books, training manuals, articles, and presentations. We regularly turn clients' books into 12 to 24 months worth of content. Let us turn your existing content into visually stunning, bite-sized content tiles. Content repurposing is the easiest way to turn your past into profits. Turn your existing content into bite-sized glitter that you can sprinkle everywhere with ease to attract your ideal audience. Let us amplify your voice, your message, and your impact. Find out more at sallyacurtis.biz.
Thank you very, very much. So as part of a recap, and just so I can collect my thoughts and pop some notes in as it relates to wellness and the Webster's definition of change, which I really, really love. I busily wrote words down as you were expressing that, and I really pulled out of our conversation today that as that wellness advocate and the mentor and working with the aromatherapy and really helping people move through fear to being courageous and curious about what lies on the other side of change for them. And it's really about just creating some simple modifications so you can create a better version of yourself that supports your own internal systems and helps create change for a better life for you as well. And I love that people can have the opportunity to go through that 1 hour wellness session with you on that pre-discovery session. So that's brilliant. So thank you very, very much for sharing with us today. And it looked like you might have something additional to add. So I'll let you do that too.
Well, no, I don't have anything additional, but I really do thank you, and I appreciate you having me on your show.
You're very, very welcome. And as we've just got up on the screen, the website, if you want to find more about some of the natural products and the scrubs, etc., is www.natural-scrubs.com. So natural-scrubs.com. So thank you very, very much. And of course, you can reach out to Catina on Facebook and Instagram. And that's at Go Natural Scrubs. So you can reach out and find out more and obviously take advantage of that wellness discovery session as well. So thank you very, very much for sharing so much of your backstory with us, talking to us about the power that we all have to create change. So thank you very, very much. And continuing our theme on creating change, next week's episode, we're going to have a gentleman called Brad Yates on the show, who is a EFT practitioner. So he's going to be talking to us about tapping into success in more ways than one, which is all about, again, self-discovery, things we can do for ourselves to create our own change and transformations. So I'd like to, again, thank you very, very much for joining us on the show, sharing so much wisdom and so many stories with us. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And I will look forward to seeing you all next week on another episode of Success Secrets Exposed. Thank you very much, and you have a great week, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.
That's it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, and I trust that you got some inspirational tips to move you forward. You can find this episode along with many more on your favorite streaming platform such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for more Success Secrets Exposed with Sally A. Curtis.